liberty, and justice for all.
Commissioner Kirshner, do you have a prayer for us today?
I sure do. Let's get in a prayerful mood here for a moment. Heavenly Father, we ask for your wisdom, making decisions for those we represent. We ask again in a special way for you to watch over those folks who are part of the medical teams and assisting with the current pandemic. We pray for those who have been afflicted. We pray for the families of those folks who have perished. We ask again in a special way that you watch over those folks, protecting our freedoms. We ask all this through your Son. Amen.
Amen. Nikki, roll call.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Here.
Commissioner Kirshner?
Here.
All right. We have some special guests today. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, and so we didn't want that to go unnoticed in these special times. We have a proclamation, and I'll just hit the highlights here. It is teachers impact the lives of children every day. Teachers' work, their influence extend further than the boundaries of the classroom, and teachers play a pivotal role in the lives of children, and also inspiring a lifelong love of learning and discovery. This has been a different year, and we want to take this week to appreciate teachers, thank a teacher, and in this environment, teachers are heroes that have been really called upon to do something special. So we signed this today. It's got the official seal on it, so it makes it official. And with us this morning, we have Nikki Chafee from Seneca East Education Association and Chris Distel-Joyce from Tiffin Education Association. So welcome. And Jimmy, if you could unmute them, and we will, Nikki, if you want to say a few words about how teachers are faring, and we really appreciate it. And this is a fun fact. Nikki's mom was my 6th grade teacher. So when you see her on Mother's Day, apologize for that.
Oh dear. I think that'll be okay.
Runs in
an update from Seneca East Education Association. I can just say that our teachers have definitely been adaptive through this unforeseen pandemic. Having to transition from face-to-face classroom instruction to a digital platform in less than 24 hours is something that was a challenge, but they've gone above and beyond by researching distance learning techniques and different online professional development opportunities, and continuing to collaborate with each other as well. Good thing for Seneca East is that we are like a family. We believe in supporting each other through uncertain times in our school district. We're also very fortunate to have a community that supports us as educators and students that are always up for a challenge. I think right now our focus, well, I know our focus at Seneca East is to continue to keep students a top priority academically, socially, and definitely emotionally during these times. Remaining tiger tough towards the end of the year here, trying to keep through everything, and then we continue to be hopeful that we'll be able to greet everyone personally this coming fall.
Yeah.
So that's how we're doing.
Yeah. Thank you for all you're doing. Chris, you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I would like to echo a lot of the same things that Nikki said. I think the teachers, it was 24 hours, like she said. They found out they needed to develop some things for the kids to work on. And it has been a process of getting to know those different platforms and trying to do what's best for kids. A lot of teachers are really missing those little faces, being with them every day, and even the big faces that we're with every day in the high school. And I think the kids are really missing the teachers too. When they see them out in the community, it's like a welcome home, and hard not to give hugs. But again, it's a whole process of everybody working together. The t-shirts say it well, is we're all in this together. The parents are, picking up and doing a lot, and the teachers really appreciate that and all that they're doing. We're all working together to make it the most bearable situation for the students.
Well, we certainly appreciate our teachers. And so thank you for coming on today, and, Godspeed to you. This has been a crazy year, and I have all the faith in our educators, because they really care about the kids. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thanks, folks.
Yeah, and share our appreciation with all of your staffs. All right. Minutes. I'll accept a motion to approve the digital audio Zoom Facebook Live minutes of our previous board session.
So moved.
I'll second all that.
Roll call.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes. All right. Administrator report.
Yeah, I don't know if Jimmy gave you a heads up. They're having a little bit of issues with their Facebook Live, so I think it's Facebook, not us this time. But so I'm not sure it's running. I just asked Jimmy, and he's still having issues getting it to connect. So, but we're still live on our Zoom, and we're good. So sorry about any inconvenience with the Facebook Live. We're trying.
Zuckerberg's censoring us.
Right. Give you a couple updates. Month-end reports. End of the month for April, our revenue was at 1.3. Year to date, we are at 7.8. And just a little clarification on the 1.3. I think Commissioner Thomas, you had asked me why did the JL seem higher. We did get both February and March's payments in April, so that's why that was up a little bit. So it just, the timing came in when we got reimbursement, and they both came in April. So expenses so far, month to date expenses are at 1.4, and year to date expenses so far are at 6.4. So we're right on track with the adjusted budgets and revenue so far.
Okay.
Any questions about that?
Well, it goes to show that we, for the first 4 months, we were at 1.9 million.
Yeah.
We were right on track. Things were rolling along pretty good there. Additional money, obviously, that's going to fall off the cliff here, but the projections were pretty good in the beginning. I mean, the only thing that I would add about budget commission, you have more, Stacy. I don't want to interrupt you.
Not on that, no.
Okay. I just, we had budget commission, as everybody knows, on May the 5th, just so everybody else that wasn't part of that knows that, as Stacy said, the 15.5 million is the new number, as opposed to 19.5. I just thought it interesting. I did an unprofessional survey, absolutely unprofessional, about sales tax. And I did talk to the big box stores, the big box store that we have, and the grocery stores and the car dealers, which are the major contributors to sales tax in the county. The big box store was actually up more than 10% for both March and April, so that'll be interesting. The grocery stores were year over year higher significantly, and the car sales were year over year down about 5 or 6%. For the month of April, they were down by about 50%. But so that'll be interesting to see how those numbers come in. I know that we have a call with County Commissioner Association later today, and that Stacy will ask pointed questions.
That's right.
Stacy, what, you have anything else for us?
Yes, I think we kind of had some little internal conversations about maybe trying to have one of our meetings in the evening, our Zoom meetings in the evening. And I also pulled up the schedule. We had initially were going to have an evening meeting at Liberty Township. It was April 21st. But because of all of this, it kind of got, removed from the schedule, and we just did our normal processes. So I didn't know how soon you would like to look at doing maybe an evening Zoom meeting. If you want me to maybe try to get a hold of Liberty Township to see if they want to be included on that, since that's where we were going to go. Just some thoughts, just some ideas to help get out to more citizens.
I'm available that day, so.
Yeah, I think we discussed this, and I think it's great if we could have an evening meeting and include the townships. Mike, I know that's something you want to do.
Yeah, I'm looking at my calendar. Does May 21st look good? That's a Thursday. That's far enough out that we can give notification.
Be great.
Yeah, works for me.
Yeah, I would like to have, a special invitation to all the township trustees. I don't know if we want to do that as a separate meeting or if we wanted to include it on a Thursday meeting. But as you guys know, Shane has headed up to having the elected officials call on Tuesday afternoons, and that's been pretty productive. But I do think at least once we should get the trustees involved in a phone call so they can ask any questions of us.
Okay, so I think what Stacy's suggesting is a commissioner meeting with the Liberty Township trustees on a Thursday night. And what Mike's suggesting is a separate meeting with all the trustees, at least invite all the trustees to a separate meeting. Can we combine them, Shane, or should we consider having two different meetings?
Yeah, I like the idea of having a call with the trustees and also having a evening meeting with a special guest.
Yeah, I think it's great. Well, we benefited from getting on the phone call. We got to thank him for doing that for us. And he kind of brought us up to date on a couple of issues. And I would think that the same thing would apply for the township guys, because some of the bigger picture things, they're not discussing as much as we have done in the past.
Okay. Stace, can you handle that?
Yep, we'll work on some dates, and maybe we'll shoot for the 21st for the evening meeting, and then I'll see if I can find some dates, check with some of the townships so they're not conflicting with some of their meetings. I'll see what we can come up with.
And as was mentioned, we're kind of in a special situation here because Tim Lynch is the president of the Township Trustees Association for Ohio, so he may be giving us more information than we know at this point.
Yeah, and he's from Liberty Township. That's good.
See how that all works out.
Yep.
And Stacy, can you give us an update on PPE, where we're at for reopening our offices and getting cleaning supplies, or maybe John if he's on?
I think John is on. We're supposed to be getting the shipment of the sanitary wipes, disinfectant wipes. I think they were supposed to be in on the 10th. We got a small shipment of our masks, I think, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Today's Thursday, so Tuesday. We got about 500 in. The rest of them, the order should be in tomorrow. We're closed tomorrow, so we'll have to see how that works out. May come in on Monday since we're closed tomorrow. John's got the disinfectant. He's got some concentrated stuff, so he's mixing it. He had Nikki print off some labels for the bottles. Hopefully our bottles have come in. So hopefully by next week, we'll be able to arm the departments with the beginning of the supplies to get them started. And, we're still discussing when would be a good time to maybe try to roll out a date. Just kind of waiting and see what's going on, and we'd rather be prepared with the supplies and the, you know, safeguards for the different offices, sneeze guards, different things like that. So trying to prepare for that before we decide on a date. So.
Good.
John, do you have anything to add to that as far as supplies? John Logston?
Let's see.
I see he's unmuted.
Am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, the daily disinfectant that we have here, I've mixed up some gallons. I've already distributed to the RTA building, and today I'll take it around to the Justice Center buildings, what I've got mixed up so far. It's a spray. I mix it in a gallon. I give them a spray because spray bottles are very rare these days. So if you have disinfecting spray bottles, I suggest you bring your own and use them. But I will supply the product in gallon jugs. It's a very good product. It's highly concentrated, and we've been using it actually for years, not realizing that it's actually has the human coronavirus on its label. So it should be a good protection.
Hey, John, one of the things that came up on our all-elected call was, you know, the reopening of the Justice Center to some extent here as that progresses, and the amount of fresh air that was brought in to the air handling system there. Can you talk to that a little bit? I know there's two separate systems with the two sides of the building, but can you talk to that a little bit?
Sure. What we have, and I'll start with the Justice, or the new Justice Center. It has a double filter system. All filters are in the rooftop unit, so everything travels up to the rooftop unit. The buildings are pressurized. And that's all done by a computer. It's got the right amount of pressure and so forth. And I spoke to someone last night to help me out with this a little bit. It would be with the high ceilings, the return air, excuse me, is in the ceilings. With the high ceilings, it would be very rare for a sneeze to make it into the system. Not saying it can't happen, but it would be rare. If you walked in a building with a very fine feather and dropped it, it's going to go to the floor. There's not a, in other words, there's not an air movement that sucks it all up into the ceiling and then into the rooftop unit and then back down as warm or cold air. So it's a pressure balance. So be the same as your cough, your sneeze, even just talking. It's, you know, it's probably going to hit the floor before it goes up. So our filters are micron filters. There's two. There's a primary and a secondary. The first primary filter in that system is actually a 90 micron, which, you know, you talk about the N95 mask. Well, that's our mask. That's a 90 mask. It's in our system. They're very large filters. The people I spoke with think it very rare that it would go into a system, and they also do work for hospitals and with the same theory. It's, you know, it would be very rare to go up into the system, top of the fourth floor, through two filter systems and back down and contaminate anybody. The other Justice building, the Annex building, is an older building. It too has two filters. Only one is right in the building itself, in the room, in the ceiling. They're called VAV boxes, and they encapsulate the first round of air, and then as you need heating or cooling, they turn a fan on. That VAV box may have 2, 3, or 4 ceiling diffusers with it. So that would be your first defense. And then your next defense is if it goes into the return air, again, you have the micron filters on the roof. Only one set up there because you have one actually in the building. So overall, I think our buildings, those two buildings, are very well covered. I can't hardly speak on the other older buildings. They're older systems, but they're, again, with the tall ceilings, the high ceilings, and the pressurizing, all the buildings have a pressure system. It would be pretty rare, again, you know, could happen, but pretty rare that it would go up and around and back down again to contaminate anybody.
What's the fresh air makeup in those systems at the Justice Center?
I knew you was going to ask, and I don't know.
Okay, but there is some fresh air coming in. It's not a
Oh,
completely.
absolutely. It's as a percentage, and it changes as needed. It computes the amount of fresh air that's needed, and it will open or close dampers as such. But I do not know the percentage or the ratio at this time.
Okay. And I assume we're up to date on changing those filters.
We are. The annex was changed, looking at on April 8th. We do that twice a year, and maybe this year we do it more. The Justice Center was done March 11th.
Okay.
The new Justice Center. So those are currently changed. Like I say, it's a twice a year deal. Maybe we pick that up this year.
Yeah, like all of this, we don't know what we don't know, and we don't know everything. We're just trying to use the best guidance that's out there. And airflow was certainly one of the things that we were thinking about. So I appreciate that update.
Yeah, good report, John. Shane, how do we get this information to the judges in the event can Jimmy send this part over to them, or that was a question I think they would like to hear the answer to.
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
Have Jimmy
I'd be glad to relay that message on to him as well.
Okay, John, you get with Jimmy and work it out, but we owe the judges a response. Thanks for bringing that up, Shane.
Yeah. Our number one goal here is just to keep our employees as safe as possible, knowing what we know. In that vein, I know we talked about masking over there, and masks are still, very strongly encouraged at county offices. And so there is some disagreement as to whether or not masks are required to enter, but unless we want to make that move and require them, it's going to be a floor by floor thing at the Justice Center. So that's kind of where that's at. I mean, it's a building that you can't even carry a pocket knife into. So that's the number one complaint I got when we opened, is that people were getting stopped for their pocket knife. All right. Any other questions for John while we got him unmuted here? All right. Stacy, you got anything else?
An update on the decorating of the lawn for the schools. Amy has said that they plan on starting the 14th or the 15th. And I already talked to John, weather permitting, he's going to try to make sure the yard is mowed right before the decorations for the schools go up. So I only know a few of the schools. Calvert, as Tony mentioned last week, their graduation is the 17th. And then I know Tiffin Columbian is doing the drive-in theater for their ceremony, or rolling it out as a video out to the drive-in on the 27th. So, we want to make sure we keep it open and on the lawn through all of our schools. They're all important, and We want to represent all of them. So we got to get some volunteers to help pull those out so we can mow again. We'll be doing that. So.
Good. That's exciting. All right, commissioner reports. Mike, you want to go?
Well, I kind of said what I needed to say. I guess, you know, the budget committee met, people know where we're at. We're still at 15.5. It was great of Jim Jordan to join our call to answer questions that we have from the federal standpoint. I think we got some things cleared up there. I know there's been legislation proposed in Columbus, and in fact, I think it's out of committee, ready for a vote today. Maybe it was done yesterday on the county share of the CARES money that was sent to Columbus. They're kind of holding it on us at this point. It'll be interesting to know how much is going to come back to us. So the next budget commission, we should all be enlightened on sales tax and also on our Ohio share of the money.
Right. And a little bit of confusion out there. That is money that was direct expenses for COVID related expenses. So it's not a backfill for revenue lost at this point. So they're looking for more flexibility in that, but there's not really a backfill for revenue loss at this point.
Just backfill for expenses incurred, right? Due to COVID.
Yeah, like we bought masks, the disinfectant,
I think it's pretty restricted just for that, this next wave. Yeah. Hopefully by next budget commission, there'll be some additional, but yeah.
Yeah.
There is some language that they're proposing as well that would hold companies and political subdivisions harmless in the event that there was some reopening that caused further spread of the COVID-19 virus. So hopefully there will be some language protecting restaurants and retail shops from any liability.
Tony.
Just a couple things. I want to recognize some of the citizens throughout the county, won't mention names, that have reached out to me with concerns and some questions. I've had several voicemails, had a couple actual phone calls. Got two topics if I want to just narrow that all down. You know, the first one is there's a little bit of an excitement out there to get things reopened faster than the way it's being rolled out at this point. Just want the citizens to know we hear you, we recognize you. There isn't anybody that wants to get everything open more than I do. So we are cautiously pushing back the envelope to get open, following the governor's guidelines. Shane, you may want to comment on the restaurants and some other things, but we hear you, so I want to recognize that. I received 2 calls with regards to our jail. I think the public understands that we house prisoners from outside the county. The extreme is, look, let them all free, send them home. They're not criminals, they're just illegals. So we're holding them, these are ICE prisoners. I just want to make the comment that the sheriff's done a tremendous job. He was way ahead of this in safety and in his thinking. So in a nutshell, the jail has the capacity and to enhance our revenue. The sheriff has housed some outside prisoners, but he hasn't taken any new ones for at least a couple months, and we're down to 37 prisoners out there, I believe. And so we're not taking any new. We're releasing them as through the system, and they're doing a great job out there of maintaining safety. So that's a report. I want to just get out there. And I want everyone to know we welcome, any comments. We listen to them, and we welcome them. So feel free to keep that going. Finally, those of you that haven't seen in the Advertiser Tribune, being a pilot and loving F-16s, we're going to have a flyover today in our town around 2 o'clock. So this is how fast this goes, Shane and Mike. They'll be over Bowling Green at 1:55. The F-16s out of Toledo. Operation American Resolve in honor of recognition of our frontline responders. But they'll be over Bowling Green at 1:55, Fostoria 1:58, Tiffin at 2, Finley at 2:05, and Lima at 2:12. So I plan on going outside and getting some fresh air and looking up at the sky at these F-16s as they fly over Tiffin and recognize, our frontline workers. So I think it's a neat event. I want to give the AT a shout out for breaking that story and getting the news out. So that's all I have.
Good. Yeah, I echo your sentiment on people reaching out. My friend Susan sent me an email and, about getting things reopened. And, we certainly share the frustration with the virus. So we want to get things rolling. And in that vein, I've been participating in some reopen committee meetings, and there's a number of committees now dedicated to figuring out what the best way to get open. The mayor of Tiffin, Aaron Montz, his task force for restaurants has been very active and very, progressive in their thinking. And, the thing that I take away, number one, is there's no limit to the imagination of business. They're coming up with great ideas of whatever the scenario is on the reopen, that they're going to, confront that challenge. And so, I'm really excited about what could come. One of the things that's going to be asked of us, and we can address this in new business if you'd like, is, as we try to spread out people and limit capacities in large gathering places, creating some alternative venues for people to grab their food and go and sit. And that may be sidewalks, alleys, parking lots, public spaces, parks. So we can have lively places to gather and congregate, but still keep our distance and spread out a little bit. So, we have a couple key parking lots in downtown that could lend themselves to that. So, I would be open to a discussion of that under new business to say, let's enter that conversation and see what works, because we all want to, support local businesses, and that may be a way that we can do that. So, if you don't mind, I'll bring that up in new business.
Okay.
All right. Old business, any?
No, I had put budgets on there, but I think we're okay on budgets. So.
Yeah, just to remind everybody, we're waiting to see data. So at this point, we're estimating, and although we think we did a good job estimating, we won't know until the numbers start arriving, and we're really looking at June, July before we really know what happens. That's just a reminder. We've talked about that here before. New business. So if you don't mind, I'll just bring up this issue of parking lots and public spaces that the county owns in and around downtown. If it's all right with you two, I'd like to throw that in the mix. Obviously, protecting ourselves from any liability and not cannibalizing completely our parking. Are we okay with whoever reaches out to reach out to Stacy and give her the authority to negotiate those agreements?
Yeah, in the brief discussions that we've had, I think that the suggestion was that maybe Court Street could be in the evenings when there's not any retail for the attorneys, et cetera, down there, be used as a venue to put some food trucks and or outdoor seating for restaurants. I think another ideal spot for downtown Tiffin anyways is Madison Street here, between Washington and Jefferson. No, Washington and the extra street beside us here.
Washington and Jefferson.
Washington and Jefferson. Okay, but I think that, you know, if we could use that, plus we have a parking lot in the middle of that. So I think that there are some good suggestions out there. Again, you know, we can dictate, and the state can dictate, and the federal government can dictate all kinds of mandates, but it's all about, again, please, personal responsibility. If you are of a situation where you are a high risk, please wear your protective devices, and if you're young, wear them to protect other people. But if we are able to do this, and we are able to get retail rolling again, remember, freedom is about personal responsibility too. Use your head, enjoy, but let's get into this thing slowly and use our own self responsibility to protect ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's great, Shane. The obviously after hours, parking lots would be more accessible, but our downtown's vibrant during the day. You know, we want to encourage people for lunch and those kind of things. So we're closed on Fridays. That's pretty, that would be a simple solution. You know, there's plenty of parking lots on Fridays. We might want to, we do have a few people working from home, that kind of thing. Maybe we could designate 5 or 10 spots, put orange cones out there during the day, and these are for restaurant people, you know, that kind of thing. But anything we can do to help support our restaurants to stay open and to reopen, I'm all for it. Yeah. And I would agree with you. We'll let Stacy coordinate all that.
Okay. Yeah, it's tough out there, and so any tools we can offer, you know, we certainly want to. And I know the mayor and the restaurant task force is bringing back the Dora concept, because that's a way for people to spread out, get outside, especially in these warm months. So I certainly support that. All right, Stacy, is that enough direction for you?
Yep, I think so.
I just don't want, you know, if this gets rolling quickly, I don't want us to have to wait, you know, a week to have this conversation again.
Okay.
All right, other new business, Stace.
New business. I have a supplemental appropriation into the Impaired Driving Enforcement Program Fund into their transfers outline for $527.02. They are getting that year wrapped up and need to transfer that out, close that one for the year. Next one I have is, I think I mentioned this last week, doing a supplemental appropriation into our county supply line for $20,000 for COVID expenses, supply expenses with the disinfectants, the masks, anything else that we'll need. I have a supplemental appropriation for the this is their General Special Projects Fund. They got a grant, received one-time funding for remote technology grant from the Supreme Court. This is Common Pleas 2 into for the amount of $19,012.66. And then I have one at the request of the engineer's office. Need a supplemental appropriation for $14,588.63 into the equipment line. And I have a resolution authorizing Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into a contract with Ward Construction Company for the 2020 chip seal project. The total bid amount was $522,620.30. I I have a resolution authorizing satisfaction of mortgage with Lori Wagner with her loan through the Community Housing Improvement Program FY 2005. Payoff amount is $8,099. And then I have a resolution rescinding the board's orders of March 12th, 2020, accepting the bid and authorizing a contract with Rush Trucking Centers of Ohio for 64 passenger school bus on behalf of the Opportunity Center. And I don't know if Nikki has more information about why we're rescinding that.
That one just got done twice, so we don't need two of them. We just need the one. And I think I put that in the resolution too, so that we know.
Okay. And I think that's all I had.
Commissioner Thomas, 2 questions, Stacy.
Yes.
One, the general fund supplies for COVID, we have it in there as supplies and then as contract services the next time.
We already have the money in contract services. All I needed was a purchase order. So Nikki just put it on the agenda, but all I needed was a purchase order and not a supplemental appropriation.
About that. And the other point I wanted to make for the courts, for example, and I think this is for the sound system, if I remember correctly, that 19,000
for their grant, special grant.
Yes, that you made the point. It is indeed a special grant. We have received some phone calls. Why are you spending this money additionally while we're trying to cut things back? But this was money that was previously approved, and the grants are here. It has nothing to do with the general fund. And we're not, just to make sure that everybody understands that we're not spending any money on the general fund for projects, because we'll get that phone call.
Okay. Motion to approve new business.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? Roll call, Nikki.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes. Okay. No other new business. We'll move to public comments. And Jimmy, if you have anybody for public comments, go ahead and unmute them. Anybody from the public who wants to make a comment, please say so in the comments and we'll put you on. Otherwise, we will open it up after any comments. So, Jimmy, do you have anybody?
Sorry, so no one right now, but if you're ready, we can open up the mics and we'll see if anybody comes forward.
Okay, go ahead.
Good.
A relationship, and they're really unique in the fact that they really work together.
That's what happens when you open it up.
Really pushes is for
Hi, commissioners.
Hello.
Relationships.
Nutter.
I bet.
Can you hear me?
That's
Yep.
my
Hey,
really core attempt at
just wanted to say we still are operating under the guidelines, issued by the CDC and the WHO. Things are operating very smoothly out here at Sunny Farms. If you ever have any questions or need any additional information, you all have my contact number. Appreciate all of your hard work during this time. I know, having been in your seats, that this is not an easy operation when things are like this. So I think you're doing a good job, and appreciate your time.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Anyone else have a comment they want to make?
The road to recovery.
All right. As always, as Commissioner Paradiso mentioned, we are available by email, and our contact information is out there. So please reach out, and we do appreciate it. And we do read our email and take our calls. So, all right. Seeing no further comments, we'll adjourn.